Van, wake up, girl. Your phone is buzzing. Jungkook shook her sleepy body and her body wiggled, but there was no sign of her waking up. Jungkook sighed, don't blame me, I'm gonna receive the call if it's from the hospital. And still there was no sign of her waking up, but soft snore were added to glorify her sound sleep. Cook looked at the screen and it was from hospital. Yobuseo, he answered the call. The receptionist. Sajang? Jungkook's POV. Wow, she is a brilliant staff indeed. She didn't guess. She just recognized me. Wifey, you have to face this. His face was brightened up. His bunny teeth were exposed into the form of a smile. He grabbed Van's shoulder with his another hand and kept shaking her body gently to wake her up. To whom you are calling? He replied in cold voice. Isn't it Dr. Van's phone number? The receptionist replied. Is she your boss? Cook asked with a stern voice. No, I'm sorry for that. The receptionist replied. You are not employed for guessing your boss's voice over phone calls. I guess. Why did you call? Cook had to be rude on her cause Van didn't want to expose her spouse's name. Actually, the patient is in labor since last night and she wanted to give birth in home. Her guardian just informed that they will be in hospital within 1 hour. That's why I. The receptionist spoke out in one go, but she fumbled at the last. Don't worry, she will be in hospital within 1 hour. Jungkook was about to disconnect the call, but the call was disconnected from the other side. He kept blushing for being caught as Van's partner by the receptionist. Not so early in the morning, but it was quite unexpected to him. Van, wake up! You have only 15 minutes to get ready. No, I mean 13 minutes? He was less gently shaking her body, and after a few minutes, Van's body moved. She slowly opened her eyes to adjust with the bright sunlight. What's the time? She asked in sleepy voice. One of your wise patients decided to give birth in home, but fortunately she is on her way to hospital. You have only 12 minutes to get ready. Go wash up. Quick. We will live together, he replied. Uh, okay. I'm gonna brush my teeth, wash my face. 5 minutes, 1 minute for wearing clothes, 1 minute for hair, 7 minutes. Great. I'm still in time. Van got up from bed and was about to step on the cold floor, but an unfamiliar pain made her frozen at her position. She looked at Jungkook and suppressed her pain by gulping down air multiple times. She felt her throat become dry. She closed her eyes and breathed in. Van, you can't feel it. She is in more pain. Get up, buddy. Van encouraged herself by mumbling this in her mind. Cookie's eyes were fixed on her each and every actions. He knew she is in pain. He knew that she would deny the fact that she is in pain if he asked about her condition. Moreover, she is not in the condition to feel the pain. Her patient is in acute labor, not as the CEO of the hospital but as the guardian of a gynec. As a doctor himself, he knew he had to compromise this time. Get ready, champ. Be quick. He patted on her shoulder and went to the kitchen to prepare her favorite morning coffee. Take this. Cook handed her the coffee while Van was lying on the bed after being ready for hospital. What's the time? Van asked while sipping the coffee. You have 7 more minutes. Don't spill on the bed. Be careful, don't choke. I guess we will be able to live faster, he answered. The wife of CEO. The one person who would just spend her whole time by just doing nothing. And look at me, wearing husband's clothes, living life of a slave. I hate my life. One groaned while sipping the last sip of her morning coffee. Cook frowned, arched his eyebrows, wanted to speak many things, but stopped. He knew it wasn't the right time to argue with his baby wife. I'm gonna take the car out, follow me. Quick. Cook took the car keys and stepped out of their nest. One followed him with pouty lips and made herself secured under the seatbelt of the passenger seat. Van kept her eyes closed while Jungkook was driving in the direction of the hospital. Jungkook, Van? Still closing her eyes, Van replied, Hmm? Nothing. Jungkook wanted to ask many questions about last night, about his failure in last night, about her health, and about the overall lifestyle he was affording her. But for some unknown reason, for some unknown guilty feeling, or for the upcoming medical emergency, he remained silent, stopped himself from asking anything. When finally opened her eyes after a few moments, she looked outside of the glass window and closed her eyes. Mentally calculated they might need 5 more minutes to reach the hospital. She sighed. Cook, feel free to ask me. Irritate me, tease me, try to be my best friend. Please, try to take our relationship in that level, in that position where you or I would never think twice before speaking to each other. It will hurt, but please. The car stopped in front of the hospital. Before both of them would step out from the car, they were busy with unfastening the seatbelt. Van, come to my cabin after the delivery. In your lunchtime, make sure you would check twice in the CEO's cabin and our room. Otherwise, your husband come wannabe best friend would not eat. Jungkook spoke before stepping out of the car. Van gently nodded at Jungkook's proposal. She consciously looked around before getting out of the car. One day I'm gonna be caught red-handed, she murmured under her breath, and literally ran towards the hospital premises. What's the condition of the patient, sister? Van asked the senior-most nursing staff politely. The nursing staff. The patient is on the way. I suspect it might be shoulder dystocia. When? May I have the patient's file, sister? The nursing staff handed her the file. Exchanging a smile with her, Van headed towards her desk. What's the location of the ambulance, sister? Van got up from her desk and asked the nursing staff. Let me check. 15 more minutes, I guess, she replied. Got ready, we might need to do an emergency OT. Van went to the changing room. The nursing staff nodded and informed to prepare the OT. Finally, the patient arrived. From emergency ward, she was shifted into the OT in no time. Van checked the pregnant patient and confirmed. Unfortunately, it was a case of shoulder dystocia. The patient cried, Please help me. Doctor, it's too painful. Relax, Mama. Van tried to console. Please help me to deliver this baby normally. The patient cried in pain. The patient was in pain. The guardian of the patient was also present in the OT. The operation was indeed to be done in emergency, yet the patient and the guardian must be informed about the situation. When patient's pelvic opening is too small, yet the baby is about 4 kg. If the patient was admitted at least as soon as she felt the labor, we could go for a normal delivery, but we can't make it more risky. Do you guarantee that my baby will be safe after the surgery? Or it's a cheap trick to earn money from victims like us? Most probably the father of the unborn baby arrogantly asked. When, sir, the baby is too big and it's already quite late. It will increase the probability of damage of baby's nerves. Stop arguing with us and please help us. Fortunately, Van, along with one of the most efficient doctors of the hospital, were in charge. The operation was presumed yet done in emergency. The patient delivered a healthy baby girl. The baby started having mother's milk. The new mother was also stable enough to feed the baby. Seeing both the baby and mom were enjoying their skin to skin moments, Van sighed in relief and walked out from there. After changing into the regular scrubs, Van was about to sit in her desk when she felt a warm hug. The hug was familiar, yet it wasn't Jungkook. Realizing that, one could feel a cold shiver through her spine, while the person who was none other than her fellow doctor, who had a secret crush on her, patted on her shoulder. Well done, Dr. Van. Proud of you. Van hurriedly broke the hug and thanked him. Her face became pale in fear of Jungkook, yet she managed to smile gently in front of her colleague. The fellow doctor noticed the ring on her finger. Are you engaged, Dr. Van? He asked casually, crossing his fingers, eagerly waiting for the no from Dr. Van. No? The expected word escaped from her mouth, and he was about to sigh in relief when Van stated, I'm married. Huh? What? Are you serious? What does he do for living? He asked in one breath. He has a doctor's degree, but he is managing their family business right now. When casually answered, Thank God you didn't say you were married to our CEO. You know he is a doctor too. The fellow doctor chuckled. What if I say yes? Will you believe me? When asked him back. Come on, Dr. Van, he just used your appearance just to avoid his ex girlfriend. From that, we definitely can't conclude that the CEO would kneel down in front of you and proposed. The fellow doctor replied, You're right, though. Kneeling down in front of me, it's oddly difficult to visualize. You're right, doctor, Van chuckled. It's almost past the lunch hours. Wanna join me? The fellow doctor asked her. I have no appetite. Van rejected his offer politely, both of their eyes fixed on Van's apron's pocket, inside which her phone was vibrating. It was an incoming call from the CEO. He might need you to avoid his ex again. You enjoy your hard time with CEO. All the luck, doctor. The fellow doctor started walking towards the cafeteria when received the call. Nay, are you free? I'm hungry. I have told you that I would not eat without you. I have to attend a meeting in 4 o'clock. Jungkook's childish demand made her flustered. I was about to go to the room though, when answered while stepping forward towards their shared dorm room. When glanced at the CEO's cabin, two staffs were knocking on the door asking for permission to enter into the cabin. When simply avoided them and unlocked her, actually their room. Laying herself on the bed, Van was staring blankly when Cook entered into the room through the other entrance. How was the hug, Cutie John? Van flinched and sat on the bed immediately. Van, I'm asking you something. Answer me with words. I repeat. How was the hug? He clenched his teeth. Familiar but not warm. Van replied. So? I see. Other man's hug is quite familiar to you. Is it because I couldn't you last night? Jungkook just asked his insecurity out. Be honest. Just be honest with me. I would not mind even if you say yes. I'm willing to accept the truth only. The patient didn't want to go for C-section. The baby was big. Even the guardian accused me. But for the sake of the baby and the mother, I informed them that we need the C-section this time. They eventually understood after the Lil cried in their embrace, after having skin to skin moment with the baby. He congratulated me. He usually congratulates in this way, but I have informed him that I am married. I'm sorry for my behavior, and if you're asking me about the last night, then let me inform you. As a doctor, I don't feel cramps, soreness, pain, tiredness inside OT. I simply can't. But when I stepped out from there, the increased friction successfully increased the amount of pain. How? How you can say this so easily? When explained. Jungkook's intense gaze almost pierced her soul. He could feel her answer wasn't satisfying, yet genuine. Let me check your. Jungkook's tone was soft, but when shivered by his proposal. I'm fine, it will heal. Just till then, don't ask me for doing. One's face became pale in fear of Jungkook, and Cook could notice that. Doctor, if you don't let your doctor husband to treat yourself, how could you recover first? He walked closer to her and her tummy growled. I guess my baby wife needs to be filled up before starting a solid argument with me. He chuckled. Don't dare to call me a baby, Jungkook. I will, when pouted. I know you will, but which flavor would you love, wifey? He asked. Anything, I'm just too hungry. When headed towards the washroom and hissed in pain, while she cursed under her breath and walked out of the washroom. Cook flinched at his position, seeing Van's pale face. Her eyes were filled with tears, trembling in pain. What happened? I still. He asked with confused eyes. Did I bleed? Really? She asked him back. Yeah, but let me check. He was cut off by Van. I'm hungry, please bring some food. Van actually needed some personal time to use an ice pack. I know you are hungry and the food will arrive in 2 minutes, but your facial gesture screaming something else. Do you want me to leave, Van? His tone was full of concern. Van looked away to avoid eye contact with him. Was early in the morning, but the friction due to walking has made it worse. I actually thought to put an ice pack on mine. So it means you still feel awkward and embarrassed to share your situation with me. His words were simply expressed his mental situation, the mental turbulence he was going through. I'm sorry, but yeah, I was feeling awkward when surrendered.